Let's now move forward because up next, the theme coming up for our next session is all about Future Forward Showcase India's Manufacturing. Make it happen, the Amrit Kaal. That being said, to spearhead this session, we have with us Ravikiran POTHUKUCHI, who's the Director, Manufacturing and New Domains, Dassault Systèmes India. In fact, his role is to define the business strategy to expand Dassault Systèmes' solution footprint in India's rapidly growing manufacturing and logistics sectors. So first up, I'd like to invite Mr. Ravikiran on stage so that we can also welcome his speakers right here. Our speaker joining us is someone who's been with Asian Paints for 31 years. His current role, he heads the information technology function and reports to and at the same time, he's leading the digital innovation for transforming the group from paints to a decor products and services D2C organization are his current focus areas. We have with us none other than Aashish KSHETRY, Vice President and IT and Chief Information Officer, Asian Paints. Can we have a loud round of applause, everyone? And on that note, let me also invite our next speaker, who's a technology professional with over 23 years of experience developing and executing IT and OT strategies at a global level. We have with us Chief Information Officer, Orient Electric, Mr. Manzar ABBAS.
Good afternoon. The title of this session is Manufacturing the Amrit Kaal. Right? I would like to remember an anecdote shared by one of my professors 20 years ago. I don't look that old, but yeah, 20 years ago. The professor said that I just joined Dassault Systèmes, and I told him that Dassault Systèmes acronym is 3DS. And he said, manufacturing is also 3DS. Dark, dirty, dangerous. Right? That's what he said. And see the long way we have come now. Today, manufacturing is transformational. Manufacturing is, it was not like olden days, manufacturing is sexy, manufacturing is cool, right? So, in the first half, my distinguished guests and a lot of speakers have spoken about virtual twins. Virtual twins is nothing but planning and preparing in the virtual world. That's a job well begun. But is that end of it? Certainly not. Because the real world is unforgiving. The real world is the VUCA world, as we call it. Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So no matter how well you plan in the virtual world, the real world throws a lot of surprises. And to deal with these surprises, and mostly these are shocks, not surprises, to deal with these shocks, one has to be agile, one has to be responsive, and they have to be very, very swift in responding to those challenges, right? And if I deep dive further, manufacturing has multiple facets. One is, I mean, I would not want to give a lecture on manufacturing, but there is discrete manufacturing. That world has a set of different challenges, and there is continuous manufacturing. I'm sure my guest here will elaborate it further. Discrete is all about mass personalization, product variety, product complexity, bill of materials, whatnot. And assembling, quality, these are all the challenges of the discrete world. When you come to continuous world, it is all about process control. Highly automated. If you go to the plant, it looks very, very jazzy, highly automated. But the problem is, are you able to control the processes? Are you able to control the quality? Are you able to get the right product? And are you able to control the process parameters? Because there, the temperature, the humidity, these are all critical aspects when you're getting into continuous manufacturing. So I'm glad to have two CIOs representing two different organizations, the discrete world and the continuous world, to share their perspectives. I would like to begin with one of my good friends, and I learned a lot from him, Mr. Aashish KSHETRY. Ashish, har ghar kuch kehta hai, right? That's the tagline of Asian Paints. Uske piche bahut kuch hota hoga.
Sure.
To know more, I would like to call upon Aashish KSHETRY to take us through what happens behind har ghar kuch kehta hai.
Hey, thanks for having me. and for setting the tone. I'd just like to correct one thing. The full tagline is "हर घर कुछ कहता है, इसमें कौन रहता है?"
Wow.
Right. And why I wanted to touch upon that. I'll need the clicker. So.
By the way, that was planned.
No, what I'm going to say ahead was not planned. But while he told me this, he's going to start with that. I thought about it. I was going back to what I think Bernard, he's not in the room, said in the morning, that the virtual twin will replace the physical twin, right? So just imagine, हर घर कुछ कहता है, इसमें कौन रहता है? For people who don't understand Hindi, it's saying that whoever stays in the house, is represented by the house. So a house is it can be a virtual twin, right? And that's exactly what struck me in the morning. What we are in is about, it's just like how this house speaks to you, the virtual twin also speaks to you, right? And that's exactly what we are trying to create. While there's a lot of jargon and it's a difficult concept to understand, but just imagine the monetization that you could do with a virtual twin of your house on the metaverse. Right, and that's something that really occurred to me when Bernard mentioned in the morning that it'll actually become more expensive than the house that you physically own. You could have ads in your house in a virtual twin in the metaverse, right? So I think that's what the Ghar should speak to all of us. And thanks for bringing it up. So that's our logo. The other thing that struck me, right, and as we are new customers for Dassault. I've been hearing a lot of other customers who have been 30 years with the company and hope we continue our trusted partnership for that long. But if you see our logo, and if you see the logo or something that Dassault talks about very closely is exactly similar, right? It's the infinity sign, right? It's if I remember it right, it talks of create to operate, right? And if you just take the two longitudes away from our symbol, it's actually the same sign.
Yeah, the IFI loop, we call it.
So, okay, you call it the IFI, right? So that's the other similarity, and I think the digital twin, virtual twin, and as an organization around philosophy about being infinite and being part of one continuum is something that we really also value. So I see a lot of similarities in that sense. Just wanted to show of hands, how many customers in the room? How many of you seen paints? Right? Okay. The tougher one is how many satisfied consumers? Right? Okay, good to see the same number of hands. But it's always a pleasure to be in Bangalore. We have a phenomenal market share in Bangalore. We are the largest paint company in India, obviously. Sorry, which one is it? This one?
This one, the center play button.
Okay, thanks. So just one slide on who we are. We have more than 50% market share in India. We are today probably the fourth largest paint companies in the world. Very close to Bangalore, we have our biggest plant in Mysuru, which is a plant that we started 5 years back. So it's always nice to come back over here. And I don't know, we'll never give you the chance to enter the plant, but I think it's a real pride that we all carry. When we build that plant over, it's really very well automated. So just, what I'm just wanted to talk about 9,000 odd employees. We have 26 manufacturing facilities across the world, but our main presence is in India, right? And, that's what I just wanted to share. Apart from paint, we are also getting into a lot of decor category products, and also things around construction chemicals, adhesives, wall coverings, wallpapers, rugs, carpets. So that's the new line of business that we are focusing on. But I think today's discussion is just to talk about what we do in manufacturing and how we are going to leverage, Dassault Systèmes and the platform over there. So quickly, he talked about two industries, types, process and discrete. We fall somewhere in between, right? So we are neither process nor discrete. We are called batch process industry. And to simplify matters, I'd like to just explain it like this, right? So it's just like making tea, right? You just take, some tea, some ingredients you put it in a boiling pot, you heat it up, so it's a batch that gets created. Every batch is distinct from the other, and at the end you do something of quality inspection, and there you are, right? So if my manufacturing head was there, he would have killed me, right? Because there is
This is
lot
not as
more,
easy.
yeah. So there's lot more that goes into in doing this. But just to explain the concept about paint manufacturing, because a lot of the automation and a lot of the IoT devices, a lot of the things that we built in all starts from a very basic process of this nature, right? But that's how it is. Obviously, and I'd just like to restrict the next slide to, that's the paint manufacturing itself, but obviously a lot of things happen before that. You get to source material, you need to, get packaging material around it. Pretty much like auto manufacturers, we also have a lot of ancillaries around packaging material that is based around our manufacturing plants. We obviously do quality at the end stage. It's also done during the process, and we ship it to our stores. So, and that's the distribution channel that we really cater to. We have 75,000 retail outlets across the country, and we service this from today 8 of our manufacturing plants. But the journey, I mean, we are an 81-year-old organization, so and we've been doing manufacturing for that long a period, right? And I'm sure if people in the room understand manufacturing in that sense, it's not easy to say that, whatever you want, you'll build into the latest plant that you have, right? Your 80% of production will still come from, old, sweated assets, and that's what will really get you, great manufacturing. So it's not only about building in new technologies, but it's also about how you're going to upgrade your existing plants and get it to a level at which the newer one is, because the consumer wants the same thing. So just like an IoT as a framework, we tend to define our plants as generation of plants, right? We're not shutting down plants, we are modernizing them, we are bringing up to scale, and we are really automating them. So if you see the evolution, and I'm not going to go into everything over here, but just if you read the headers, you'll probably get a sense. You had manual plants, you moved to a flexible operational plants where cells used to move around. You went into semi-automation. This is probably the area of 2006 and 2010. And clearly in 2010, 12 onwards is when we really started putting up real automated manufacturing facilities, right? That was the era that, whether you call it, in IoT we define phases. Just similarly, we define that as a real change in the game where the control systems, the level of automation, we went from 800 people to, just about 80 people managing a triple size plant what the 800 people used to manufacture, right? So that's the level of investments that really came into our industry. So it's, very large scale, it's people independent, it's highly automated, and that's something that we built about 4 or 5 years back. But what's next, right? The consumer is really demanding. A lot of automation brings you scale. It builds you, as you said, mass production. But what you really need and the consumer wants is flexibility. So now the real challenge, and that's what we define as the next generation plants, is really to see how you can build in that automation, but still get in the modular flexibility at scale, right? So while you have large plants, you still have a batch size of 1, and it's not a large batch size, right? So you try and make it much, it's like the small teacup, right? So, you have many of those, but you can't produce, the same tea that the tea vendor makes in a big, patela and is serving many consumers. Each person has an individual choice, right? So that's the real challenge as we see it in our next generation plants. So what do we really talk about our ethos in manufacturing? And, this is something that, we've been looking at, in our latest plants, is basically that you may have automation, but really need to move towards a exception-based intervention. Everything should run autonomously, but really use only, and people should only manage exceptions. We talked about safety being paramount, and I think the 3M model, which is about man, machine, and material, and the interfaces that each one of them have, is something that is very critical in any manufacturing setup. And that's what you do. But most importantly is the real transparency, and I've used the word transparency. It's all about, democratizing data, making that available to people on the shop floor, so that then they can really take the decisions, right? So what we call as a insight-driven organization, and move to a frame where it's not only the people in head office or in the control towers really looking at data, but trying to see how you can democratize it at the shop floor and use it for day-to-day decision making, right? And that's something that we have been looking at in terms of Dassault Systems and the applications over there. Okay, just one or two last slides. I know it's getting a bit long.
Sure,
So it's just that the business challenges that we faced when we got into, and as I said, we've been running plants and we've also been running manufacturing automated plants for some time. But obviously, and people who have worked in this space will realize it's not easy to maintain these systems. There is always a IT-OT convergence that needs to get managed. There are always white spaces in your automated layer which are still managed manually. We already have SAP at the back end, so how does that data move over there? What's the user experience? But most importantly, I think that flexibility and scalability as a solution, in some of our plants, we have something like 12,000 valves, right, which are running and, which need to be controlled. Any one valve that misfires is a potential loss of material that is going in extra in the paint, right? And that's going to really, hurt us. So how do you really monitor that which of the 7,000 valves is not working well today at the same level of accuracy and react fast? Simple example of how you really need visualization as well as data to be able to solve a real business problem on the floor. So that's what was a real challenge. So while we put in the investments, this layer was something that we were really challenged for, and that's where we looked at solutions, and we are looking at now implementing the Aprizo system at our newest plant that we are putting up, and that's got the promise to ensure that you have the skill sets not only to build the solution, but also maintain it and really operate it at scale, right? So these are the real elements, and really what is also attractive is the whole element of the data analytics layer being part of the platform, right? So otherwise you have to build in complex integrations of things moving around setups, but that's something that we are enabling on the platform itself. It's also important, as I said, plants are not built for even 4 or 5 years. Our oldest plant now is built, I think, in 1982, so it's about 43, 44 years old plant. And that's the longevity of a plant or an investment that we do. So how do you have a partner that really works and provides that on a continual basis is important to us. And I think that's where a lot of the things that we saw in the solution and obviously their pedigree of having worked with many consumers like that over years was important to us. What's next? And this is the last slide, I promise you, right? Yeah. So it just, while we have put in the the Aprizo system at our plant, I think the promises of really looking at integrating the analytics very deeply is something that we are looking for. A problem that we've never solved very well is scheduling, right? And that's something that we are going to adopt as a next phase as part of our journey in this. The data analytics will obviously run across the the area. So this is our journey with Aprizo and with Dassault Systems. That's what I wanted to share. I hope I'm able to come out with some.
Thank you very much, Aashish. Really very crisp and very nice. I can see one smiling, happy face in the audience. Guess who? Morgan. He was so happy to see the manufacturing analytics layer there. Yeah. Thank you very much. And what I liked about your, although you have been building plants and you have evolution of plants, right? Gen 1 to Gen 4. Even then, after having highly automated plants, you're still thinking of what more can I do? That modular flexibility, right? You're still inventing yourself. That's what probably makes Asian Paints a gold standard. By the way, when you asked who are your customers, I thought you were asking about Dassault Systems customers. That's why I didn't raise my hand. I'm also a big customer of Asian Paints. Yeah. Thank you very much. So now we'll move to our next speaker. Switch to smart.
Yes.
That's how you have rebranded yourself.
Of course.
And we have seen Mahendra Singh Dhoni advertising your fans, and we have fallen in love with your products, with your designs. But what our audience would like to know about, the design is okay, the virtual fin is okay, but what goes behind in the manufacturing?
Sure.
What is the Amrit Kaal that we are seeing in Orient Electric?
All right. So first of all, thank you, Dassault Systèmes, for inviting me and having me here. Thank you, everyone, for listening after the lunch time.
Yeah.
I know it's taxing. So I will just take a minute to update you about who we are as a company. What is our legacy? We are Orient Electric. So I think most of us must have heard about isko PSP or nahi pata wala ad, right?
Correct.
So we all have grown up with these brands like Godrej, like Asian Paints, like Orient. So we are about 83 years old organization. In fact, our oldest factory is in Kolkata. That's where we started, and the entire city has actually evolved around that, place. So, as you have said, that we are a discrete manufacturing, aspiring to be on a continuous manufacturing organization. Looks difficult, but we have a gamut of electrical appliances, mainly deal with fans, coolers, and LEDs, P-loom, C-loom, highway lighting, street lighting, tunnel lighting, etc. And proudly saying so, we have done the lightification of Rashtrapati Bhavan and many other prestigious buildings. And this is the brief journey about the group. We are present in technology, we are present in automotive, we are in home and building with HIL, Orient Paper, Orient Cement and all, and we are strongly present in healthcare and education. Many of us might have studied from BITS.
With Ranchi.
Yeah. So this is what I was telling. Orient Electric as such has 5 manufacturing plants. The oldest being in Kolkata, and the newest one, which is coming up very shortly, is in Hyderabad. So we are very proud to share with you that this is a fully automated plant, wherein minimum manpower, no paper, and no wastage is the goal. So when we talk about the first half of the session was emphasizing on sustainability. So how do we implement technology to reduce the carbon footprint, to reduce the wastage of water, which is essential in manufacturing, to draw as less water as possible, and to discharge effluent waste after treatment, and measuring that. So the whole journey, I would not say it started with Hyderabad, but it started with Katia, which each one of us are using for a very, very long time for designing and all. But when the Hyderabad thing come and the management has put across the motto of highly automated plants with automated mobile robots running, taking the material here and there and fulfillment and all. So we immediately felt a need that we should have a MES system in place. We should have a planning system in place for the production planning, for measuring my machine's OEE, that is overall efficiency of the equipment, and all of us must be knowing about the APQ, and also, power conservation, and then how to get into the lean operational, management part of it. Further, we elaborated onto that, and see, manufacturing, if we take it as a center of the universe, then there is a left and there is a right to it. The left being the S&D part, wherein you have your warehouses, you have your depots, you have your entire SCM chain, and at the end, customer. And while doing this MES implementation, with the good work done by Satish and team of Dassault, and my good friends in Capgemini, if you are here, so they have done a wonderful job. We were actually inspired to move ahead and get into something which is deeply embedded inside the manufacturing or the government norms, because you know that the government has recently given the new norms for energy conservation, for BLDC fans, right? And with that, we have the traceability as one of the important aspects, which is, you can think of a traceability in automotive component, maybe. So we have the QR code on each of the child parts married to the parent part, and then L0, L1, L3 labeling and the shipping part. So this also we were encouraged with the good work done in MES. And we went ahead and we have deployed, we are deploying Apriso for this traceability. And I'm very excited about it. And with that, you have the traceability as well as the management of the FG. Now, as I told you, we have put upon Autumns for our production planning and scheduling, which integrates with my SAP, which integrates with my suppliers for RM, BOP, and this packaging material. And their supply is scheduled through that. Now, my goods are transferred through the logistics to my warehouse, right? Master warehouse, distributors, distributed to retailer, and there are certain, because we are an influencer-based, industry.
That's right.
So electricians are our biggest influencers that way. So how do I track each and everything? How do I monetize on each and every aspect of it? Is based on the tracking. So we are building up WMS, that is Warehouse Management System, inside Apriso. We are also, there were certain talks in the morning, and I'm encouraged to think about the consumer side. Somebody showed a very good demo with, somebody was actually, flicking the phone and seeing what is, how good you are and how good my product will look in the room.
Right.
So that encourages me to go to the C side, the customer side, right? So what we have tried is to build efficiency, to predict my breakdowns, to build my FIFO in the system, to reduce my inventory, to reduce my running capital, which is blocked in form of inventory, to optimize my RMBOP side of purchases.
Right.
So I think once everything is come up and everything is there, then it should be wonderful actually. So I'm very excited to have this up and running. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Manzar. Actually, so I think, thank you. Today, what you helped us to accomplish is one of the biggest, there is a, Dassault Systems is always associated with aerospace and automotive. I have a lot of my aerospace friends here. Today, you could probably help us establish that we do a lot more than what automotive and aerospace, we do work with them, but Asian Paints, Orient Electric, the consumer-oriented industries, where plants have to operate, as we say, sweat the assets. Every asset has to be sweat and without any breakdowns. And you're leveraging Dassault Systems technology, and you're creating your roadmap, your technological roadmap, partnering with us. It's really encouraging and it's really supporting. And with this, truly, we are in the manufacturing Amrit Kaal. So I'll leave the floor for a few questions to you if you're okay with it.
Sure.
Although we decided that it will be a show and tell session. Aashish and Manzar, any questions from the audience? Please shoot. Yes, sir.
Sir, to you, you mentioned there are thousands of valves in the automation.
Yeah.
So how do you really control their flow and
they're-
is it through AI or ML?
No. They are actuated valves, so they are pneumatically controlled. So we have a DCS layer which controls the valves.
Before that, you do a simulation of the whole plant?
Yeah, that's part of the design, right? So that is part of the engineering design, etc. But each valve, based on the recipe, will be controlled for the opening, closing, etc.
Individual controls?
Yeah.
But how they operate in unison like that?
So we have a recipe management, right? Which is what will come from SAP, which will flow into the Apriso system. And from there, it will control and give instruction to the DCS layer for operating the valves, right? So each recipe will have that elements, and what we call as the M bomb and the E bomb. So that bomb which is there at the manufacturing level will have the phases and the instructions over there, right? So the MES will sit between the DCS and the SAP, which will control the recipe.
Another general question.
Yes, sir.
How Asian paints have so many shades of colors compared to
Other painters.
how do you control that?
Yeah. So the
Little
choice that
differences.
Yeah. So it's a what we call as a tinting machine. So if you go to the shops, you'll find the tinting machine and they have color mixes. So we actually produce some shades and some bases, and that's then tinted at the shop floor. At the retail shop, then that's what comes to you. It's not something that we do. I think all companies worldwide do it. If you go to a store, you'll actually find 3 tinting machines. You know, one from ours, one from our competition, all over there. So it's something that's been there in the business now for maybe more than 35 years. Right?
So for you, you are mentioning about low carbon footprint.
Low carbon.
That is to reduce the carbon footprint.
Right.
What are the new techniques you implement to reduce the carbon footprint?
I think it's a very good question. So there cannot be, as it was discussed in the morning also, there cannot be zero, this thing, but we can always offset. We will minimize. How do we do that? So as you said, what is the new techniques which you're using? There are no new techniques. Techniques are old. They're very established in the manufacturing. It's like optimization of your manufacturing line based on how much capacity of the plant is, how much you have to produce, and if you are able to predict what you have to produce, in which shift, which is your most efficient machine that way, which can produce, and you put it to that work. So there you are achieving something and cutting down the losses. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you.
Yeah, one question there. Hope it's okay.
Time.
Yeah.
Hi, sir. My name is Sachin. I'm from Capgemini, and this question is for you. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Sachin. I'm from Capgemini, and the question is for the paints, Asian Paints, and specific to the simulation side of it. So I understand that there are so many shades, and of course there is a recipe, and it's not easy to arrive at a good recipe. So of course there would be some lab behind it. So is there a simulation software that helps you visualize or virtualize that research on the type of paint that we would want to have, rendering of that kind of a thing?
Yeah, so that's what we do in our R&T lab. But there is no, there is no simulation tool right now. We don't use a simulation. We have formulations, and then they are actually put through a color computer, and you would find out the end output of that, right? So that's what we would do. So it's a chemical formula. So most of
Right.
that, yeah.
So okay, so still we don't have any specific simulation which would actually simulate the chemicals that would interact with each other and then arrive at a specific shade.
Yeah, so we have a PLM solution. We use formulation recipe management over there, but we don't use a color simulation tool. There will be a lot of other simulations for other properties, right? So there would be viscosity, there would be strength, there would be a tinting strength, there would be a opacity. So all of these things are simulated in that, right? But color visualization, you still have to do a test at the end of it, apply it, and test the.
Apply and test.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I think the time's up. So I would like to take 1 minute to sum it up. We started by saying that virtual twins is very good. It helps you to plan and prepare. So it is a job well begun, but that's not the end of it. The real execution is when the rubber meets the road in the shop floor plants. And today we have the evidences on how these two worlds, discrete and continuous manufacturing worlds, are leveraging technology to address some of those challenges. And not just that, they also were kind enough to share their roadmap, their technological roadmap on what more they can achieve. Thank you very much, Aashish and Manzar, for taking your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure and honor to have you here. Thank you. Thank you, sir.